The Rams thought they had this problem figured out, but it's back. We've got winners and losers from the Rams' 28-22 Week 10 win over the Patriots. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do me a huge favor, head over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. I've been covering LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports. Bleacher Report, Dodgers Nation, SI. Also do coverage for Westwood's One's coverage of the NFL as a studio host. Today I'm Ryan Solo. Travis is out today. We've got a jam-packed show. We've got winners and losers, and we're going to talk about a problem that the Rams thought they had fixed that is back. But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start this season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Okay, so the Rams season is still alive. The playoff hopes are still alive. They get back to 500 after beating the Patriots on the road. And we're talking winners and losers. And my first winner, my first horns up, it goes the offensive line. For the third time in the last 4 games, Matthew Stafford didn't get sacked. They kept him vertical. They kept him clean. And that allowed him to have really his best game of the season. And the big takeaway here is the mistake against the Dolphins was trying to force Jonah Jackson back into the lineup. You take Bo Limmer out of the center spot where he had been getting the job done for weeks. Jonah Jackson gets back in there. Steve Avila gets in there. You're trying to get 3 offensive linemen back in to the fold, and it just did not work against the Dolphins. You were not keeping Matthew Stafford vertical. You were not keeping him clean, and it led to a disappointing loss on Monday Night Football. With Bo Limmer back in the game, the offensive line performed a lot better. Now, the Patriots pass rush is not one of the best in the league, but still, I think that cohesion in the way that Limmer has performed this season gives them a better shot. And then that takes me to my first horns down. My first loser for the week has to go to Jonah Jackson. And it cannot bode well for Jonah Jackson that he was benched for Bo Limmer, a late-round pick. And that really was the best offensive line performance of the year from start to finish. And Jonah Jackson was, of course, the Rams' big free agency signing. He's got him for $51 million. They can get out of it basically by next season, so they kind of have protection on the back end. But Jonah Jackson was supposed to be the guy that was going to take this offensive line to the next level. You hit on Kevin Dotson after you trade for him from the Steelers. He works out. You sign him to a new deal. It was about going to that gap duo, pounding the rock, more of a road grader type of running game. But Jonah Jackson just has not worked out. I mean, due to injuries, due to just not being a effective offensive line when he's in there, it just hasn't been the year the Rams had hoped for. And I think that the good thing about this is the Rams, they're not going to get stuck with the sunk cost fallacy. It's not a situation where, oh, okay, I went to go see this movie. I already paid for the movie. I'm halfway through the movie. It's not a good movie, but since I paid for it, I'm going to watch it to the end anyway. The Rams don't do that. The Rams, they know what's working for them, and Bo Limmer clearly is that guy. I told you after they drafted him, Bo Limmer was going to have an impact on the Rams this season. I had the same feeling I had when they drafted Puka Nacua. With his measurables, with his strength, with his testing, it really looked like it was a dime in the rough type of signing, and he's not having the same impact that Puka had last season, but he's certainly contributing in a big way. And the most important thing is, whoever you think gives Matthew Stafford in the run game the best chance to thrive, that should be in the game. Doesn't matter what contract anyone signed. And I think the Rams have showed us so far that they're going to do just that. Now, next big winner, I've got to go with Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua proves once again that he wasn't some one-year wonder, some rookie wonder. No, when he's healthy, he's one of the best 10 receivers in the National Football League. He had 7 catches for 123 yards. He had incredible diving in the end zone, fully stretched out touchdown a 12-yard touchdown and just an incredible effort where he lands on the ball. My heart sank because it looked like maybe he had suffered another injury. Turns out the ball just kind of knocked the wind out of him, and he ended up vomiting again. Sean McVay was asked if he had ever seen a player that had vomited as much as Puka Nacua, and he really didn't have an answer for it. But look, Puka has shown that even with opposing defenses scheming for him, even with opposing defenses treating him like WR1, he can still go out there and make plays. He has at least 90 yards receiving in all three of the games that he started and finished this season. So you take out that game against the Lions where he left early, he's been fantastic. And he's proving once again why the Rams have a very bright future at that position. And it really changed the dynamic of Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford has his weapons back. He's got an offensive line that I think he can trust at this point. He's got a running game that's really as consistent as it's been throughout his career. So that's why I'm confident that this offense can get going, because you got high-level talent. Now, next loser, we're doing winners, losers. Next loser, I got to go with Ahkello Witherspoon. Ahkello Witherspoon, especially against the faster, quicker receivers on the Patriots, he just did not do a nice job on the in-breaking routes, on trying to just neutralize the passing game. You saw in Bourne's opening 9-yard touchdown, he gets beat. It's a slant right there, and Ahkello struggles on slant, stuff over the middles, in-breaking routes, and it's definitely a concern. And you saw in Bourne's 18-yard catch down the right sideline where he's calling the pass interference, they declined it, because obviously the play went where it went, but Ahkello just has not looked like the guy that we saw in the first part of last season where he really stood out and he looked like he was one of the best value deals at that position in the league. So still time for him to provide value, and when you look at the depth of that position, they don't have that many options, but it definitely wasn't a good afternoon for Ahkello Witherspoon. And the next big winner, Braden Fiske. Braden Fiske is a dude. The Rams have hit on Braden Fiske. Hell, the Rams have hit on their top two picks from the 2024 draft in Jared Verse and Braden Fiske, but this was the Fiske game. Braden Fiske was an animal against the Patriots. He had 2 sacks. He was constantly in the backfield, constantly providing pressure, and he had the defensive play of the afternoon. Second quarter, over 5 minutes to play, he hits Drake May, causes a fumble. Kobie Turner recovers it. And on the very next play, Puka Nacua scores a 12-yard touchdown. So Braden Fiske is looking like someone that is seeing the game better, that the game is starting to slow down for him. And you see that with rookies that are playing at a high level. You're towards midway of your first season. Hey, the game's slowing down. Things are starting to click. You're getting more comfortable and more confident. And Braden Fiske certainly looks like a guy who has the potential to be a perennial Pro Bowler along with Jared Verse, both Florida State Seminoles. So I could not be more excited about Braden Fiske. I mean, you lose Aaron Donald, you lose a once-in-a-sport level defensive player, and you replace him with 2 rookies that, yeah, they're not going to be Aaron Donald because no one is. There's only one of Aaron Donald. He truly is one of one. But the fact that you hit on not one but both of these guys, and both are as disruptive as they are as rookies, bright future for the 2 young Seminoles doing work for the Rams. So he was massive, so he's a big winner. But coming up next, more winners and losers, and a problem that the Rams thought they had fixed that is starting to rear its ugly head once again. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. All right, let's talk about Z-Biotics. Pre-alcohol probiotic drink by Z-Biotics is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Now, every time I have pre-alcohol before drinks, I notice a difference the next day. Even after a night out, I can confidently plan on playing pickup basketball, on playing pickleball, on playing flag football, going to the gym without worry. Look, I won't lie, I was a bit on the fence about pre-alcohol initially, but then while hanging out with the People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers at ESPN LA, I gave it a shot. And believe me, it's the real deal. So first, I gave pre-alcohol a try When I was at UCLA football game, we went to a game. I drank before my first Modelo, and you wouldn't believe how on top of my game I felt the very next morning. Now, here's how you use it. Step 1, drink pre-alcohol. For best results, make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Step 2, drink responsibly. Pace yourself, hydrate, and get a good night's sleep. Step 3, enjoy tomorrow. Wake up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the next day. Now go to zbiotics.com/LockedOnNFL to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use Locked On NFL at checkout. ZBiotics is back with 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL at checkout for 15% off. All right, let's talk about FanDuel. NFL fans, you can start this season with a big return on FanDuel, of course, America's #1 sportsbook. If you get a hunch in the middle of the game and you think now may not be a bad time to get in there, you can check out all the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play, and of course, there's so much more on the same page where you're placing your bet. So we're going to get you started at FanDuel with $200 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed when you play your first $5 bet. Let me say that again. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Now let's take a look at what's going on with the Rams this week. They're 2.5-point underdogs against the Eagles at home. 48.5 is the over-under, a plus 500 to win the division. So the Rams can make some money there. And over at FanDuel, they have this and so much more. It's available over at FanDuel. You got to go to FanDuel.com and download the FanDuel app on your phone. They're going to get you started with $200 in bonus bucks guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available on YouTube, so head over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you really want to support the channel on YouTube, hit that like button. Also, a major shout out to those everyday listeners out there watching and listening to every single episode of Locked On Rams. We cannot tell you how much we thank you tuning in, commenting, hitting the like button. You guys are our day ones. We cannot tell you how much we appreciate you rocking with us here on Locked On Rams. All right, Coach, so let's pick it up, winners and losers. And I'm excited about this next winner. And I got to go with Cooper Kupp. So Cooper Kupp, he is proving once again that people try to write him off, and he's not picking up the pen. He's not writing back. He still has gas left in the tank. And he's really comfortable in his role now. He doesn't need to be WR1. He's still going to be Matthew Stafford's 1A, 1B. Him and Puka Nacua are going to be his two favorite targets, but he doesn't need to force it. And it was another 100-yard game for him. He had 6 catches for 106 yards. And he had the 1 5-yard touchdown and the other one to start the second half, a 69-yard touchdown on an all-out blitz. Cover zero is man coverage. He beats his guy, and he shows that he still has the requisite speed to be a high-level receiver. He still is getting into his breaks. He still has hands that can go out there and make fantastic catches. And I think, too, he brings a calmness to this offense and a veteran leadership that they lacked when he was out. Because we know Stafford, he's the guy under center, but you also have a guy in Cooper Kupp that settles things down. When you need a big play, a big catch, he's the guy that can go up and get it for you. You don't have to only rely on Puka Nacua. So, look, I'm very excited about the prospects of this team because of the potential of Puka and Cooper playing longer together this season at a healthier clip. So, I'm excited about Cooper Kupp, and I love the fact that he's on this revenge tour, and he looks good. I mean, there's a reason why teams wanted to trade for him at the deadline, because teams out there know he can still help guys. He can still help teams win football games, and he's not done yet. So keep it rolling, Cooper Kupp. And look, people are going to say you're washed, this and that. No. You still can go out there and make plays. Now it's evidence once again. Now, next, horns down, I got to go with Kobie Durant. So Kobie Durant, when he's on the boundary, he's on the outside, he's fine. He can go out there and get it done. But in the slot, he's been struggling all season long. Now, part of that is him being thrusted into situations where he's not best optimized. But the matchup with Hunter Henry, he got beat a bunch of times in the middle of the field. Bourne caught that 18-yarder on him, so he was giving up plays over the middle, and that's just not his strong suit. So they have to find a way to scheme him a little better where he's not put in these difficult situations. But the truth of the matter is he has to find a way to make plays because they don't have a bunch of options there to go to for him to find a way to stay in a role that he's going to be able to make plays and stay on the boundary, right? I mean, he's got to find a way to make some plays in the slot because against better teams, they're going to exploit that matchup. They're going to target him, and he has to improve. So not a big loser, not a big horns down or anything like that. I mean, he's still helped this team win a football game, but you want to see him improve in that area in the slot. Now, next big winner, got to go Omar Speights. How about Omar Speights? Rookie. He's proving once again why there was so much hype around him during the preseason. During the preseason, you trade Ernest Jones, and Omar Speights is kind of getting some love. He's getting some attention. He went to Oregon State, then he went to LSU, got some college pedigree in Baton Rouge, and he's making the most of his opportunity. I think it's very clear at this point that even when Troy Reeder returns, he's got to stay in the starting lineup. When Troy Reeder comes off the IR, Omar Speights is still starting for this Rams defense if it's my call, and I think that's the right decision. He ended up with 6 tackles, and I think what stands out is how well he performs against the run because he's fearless, he makes plays. The play that stands out is just, you see the hole, and Ramondre Stevenson is trying to get through it, and it closed up quick with Omar Speights. They're also using him in blitzes where he's getting into the backfield. He's getting pressure on the quarterback. He forced Drake May to get rid of the ball early on a couple different plays. And I also think, too, he's impressed me in coverage. In coverage, he looks the part as well. So Omar Speights, the raw talent was very evident during the preseason, but it's the quickness, it's the football acumen, the ball hawking skills. He's always at the right place at the right time. I think they hit on another late round gem in Omar Speights. I mean, these guys are on fire with the Rams in the last couple of seasons with being able to identify talent. And then next, I mean, more winners than losers, so we're going to run down some more winners because it was a big win. You got to talk Matthew Stafford. Now, Stafford is someone that we, at this point, we know what the standard is for Stafford. It doesn't surprise us when he goes out there and throws 4 touchdowns. But how about this? How about this? When he stays clean, when they keep him vertical, he can perform. It's still at a top 5 quarterback level in my estimation. He ends up throwing for 295 yards, was 18 for 27, 4 touchdowns, and the most important thing, no interceptions. He had thrown an interception in 6 consecutive games, no picks for Stafford. Ends up with a passer rating of 142.7, and you were seeing him throw into tight windows. I mean, you were seeing him make plays downfield. The throw to Puka Nacua, he makes a great play on it. The 5-yard touchdown to Kupp, one of his easier throws on the day. But he's proven once again that he can get it done and he can make throws into tight coverage, and we saw that all day on Sunday. So I think we're going to get a hot Stafford down the stretch. I think with the offensive line where they know what works at this point and a receiving core that has been solidified with the return of Kupp and Puka Nacua. You still have DeMarcus Robinson that can make plays as well. I mean, Mixon Tutu can make some plays as well. Tyler Johnson can make some plays. I mean, I still think that when healthy, it's a top 10 to 15 receiving core. I truly do believe that. The offensive line has proven they can get it done. It's just, can they do it against some of the better teams they're going to be facing? But you give Matthew Stafford time, he's going to be able to carve. And we saw more of that on Sunday, and I think that this is the time of year where when you're a veteran and you've been in the league as long as he has, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And he knows that it's put up or shut up time for this team if they want to make the playoffs. So Matthew Stafford does not want to waste a year, right? He has more yesterdays than tomorrows for his career. Even if he does want to play 3, 4, 5 years, or whatever it may be. Even if he does want to do an Aaron Rodgers or a Tom Brady type career arc, as far as him being one of the best quarterbacks in the league on his best day, he knows that you have to take advantage when you have any chance of making a run. So I think that you're going to see a focused Matthew Stafford, And I think you're going to see a lot less mistakes down the stretch. And he was throwing some dimes, tight window coverage, and he was still able to drop it in there. Now, coming up next, we're going to talk about that problem the Rams still have. Also, some more winners and losers. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. Okay, real talk. We've all been there. Feeling like we're burning cash with those rent checks. It's frustrating, right? But here's the deal. Bill Rewards has figured out a way to make rent more rewarding. Say goodbye to the money bonfire and hello to a renter's revolution with Built. Me, living in LA my whole life, I've definitely paid a lot of rent in the past, and you always wonder, where could this rent money be going? Well, Built is breaking ground as a neighborhood rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Every month, pay your rent and watch the Built points roll in. Use points to jet off on a dream vacation. Put your points toward a flight or hotel stay with 500 plus airlines and 700,000 plus hotels and properties. You can also use your points to book fitness studio classes, redeem them toward a future rent payment. They're designed to meet your lifestyle. Pay rent hassle-free through the Built Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Built points have been consistently ranked the highest value point currency by the Point Guy and Bankrate. Earn points by paying rent right now when you go to joinbuilt.com/lockedonnfl. That's joinbilt.com/lockedonnfl. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. Join built.com/lockedonnfl to start earning points with your rent payments today. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So a couple more winners. Don't want to leave these guys out. Kobie Turner has been a monster all season. He's always making his presence felt. In this one, he had 7 tackles. He had a hit on May, had a TFL. He batted a pass down at the line of scrimmage. He recovered the fumble after Fiske strip sack. So he does a lot for this defense. I'd argue that he is probably the most important player for this Rams defense with how disruptive he's capable of being. And he's kind of an old soul for his age, too. I think he's the leader out there as well. So another big game for Kobie Turner. He continues to impress. And then Cameron Kitchens. So Cameron Kitchens is a turnover machine. He had 8 tackles, 2 pass defense, 1 forced fumble, and he had the game-sealing interception. And he has 3 interceptions in his last 3 games. And there's no doubt about it, he's sticking in this Rams secondary. Great nose for the football. Knows where the football is at all times. Some guys have knacks for making plays. He certainly has that knack for making plays. And that game got a little dicey at the end with the clock management with Sean McVay, not electing to kick the field goal. You're not forcing the Patriots to use those timeouts. The Patriots, a big play here or there, you score a touchdown, you go ahead with the extra point. They needed Cameron Kitchens to seal the game by that interception, and he did just that. So he's been big. He's been massive for this team. I'm very excited about him, and I just love dudes like him. I love dudes like him who want the ball thrown their way, right? They want to be in a position where they have to make that tackle. He's a guy that wants it, and you can't say that for everyone. I mean, the NFL, they're all great at this level, but guys like Kitchens, you see early on that how they're wired, and that's their DNA. Now, the next horn's down, and when I wake up at 3:30 in the morning in a cold sweat, I'm starting to think about this. The Rams have a kicking problem again. Joshua Carty missed a 26-yard, easy layup, chip shot type of kick at the end of the second quarter. The Rams have put together a nice drive. It doinks, it clanks. He misses that 26-yard kick. After the game, Sean McVay said it was frustrating, which is a lot for him. Clearly, McVay hasn't been happy with Carty in the last couple of games, and it ends up being the shortest missed kick all year. Going into Week 11, NFL kickers had missed exactly 1 field goal for all the 2024 season from 27 yards or less. They were 99 of 100, and they had 2 this past Sunday. You had Joshua Carty missed a 26. That was the shortest missed kick all season, and Dustin Hopkins for the Browns missed a 27-yard kick. But still, it's not just the missed kick, it's the lack of confidence. The fact that you did have a 52-yard kick towards the end of the fourth quarter that would have put this game out of reach, and it would have made it a 9-point game. And McVay, he elected to punt it and not go for the kick in that situation. So that's concerning. That's certainly concerning. It's not just a one-game thing. Last 7 games, he's struggled. He's 11 for his last 15. He's missed a couple point afters. And if you look at the misses, he missed from 26, missed from 35, missed from 43. The 57-yard miss, fine. You can't expect every kicker to make that. But when you're making your kicks at a 73% clip, that's right towards the bottom of the NFL. So the Rams have shown, even though they drafted him, if he can't get the job done, then they're going to have to look elsewhere. So let's hope that Joshua Carty turns it around. This is kind of a mental thing at this point, and he can get back on track because he just has not been the kicker they had hoped he would be in the last 7 games. And look, for me, based on what we've dealt with, I mean, the Brett Maher, if you're watching this, you lived through the Brett Maher situation last year. If you guys own a Rams jersey, you could show up to SoFi Stadium and we'll have kicking tryouts if this doesn't work out. But the big concern for me is that you're not making the makeables. A 26-yard chip shot you certainly have to make. I mean, you can't. This is a Rams team that doesn't blow out a lot of teams. So every point matters. Every field goal kick matters. So Joshua Carty, show me something. It's time to step up. It's time to say, hey, am I going to be an NFL kicker? I mean, you got that Stanford degree. You're going to be fine no matter what. But it's time for Joshua Carty to put it all together. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.